Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're now joined by Jay Stevens from the Utah Puck Report. Catch his podcast at kslpodcast.com, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. And he joins us here to talk playoff hockey. Jay, good morning.
It's always a good morning when it's game day, right?
Right? So this series, there's a couple of theories. One, hey, the Mammoth had to get their feet wet, figure things out, Canadian. But now they have. They're up 2-1, and it's feeling good. Or just the puck takes weird bounces, and the things go back and forth. It's probably Vegas's turn. And it's going to be 2-2, and everyone's sweating it out. You got a vision for the future of this?
I mean, both of those could be true, right? They definitely needed to get their feet wet, and the puck does take weird bounces. Have we seen two of Utah's goals go in off Vegas nights? So that's showing me that the luck is on Utah's side, and I don't think it's going to change. I think Utah learned a lot in that last home game in Game 3. I think the fact that they didn't get a lot of shots on net kind of, sent a message to the team that there's some things they had to work on. I saw a lot of that work going on yesterday at practice. So I think the Mammoth made some adjustments. Obviously, Vegas is going to make adjustments too, but I think they made the adjustments, and I think they're ready for this game, and they've learned a lot. And now you can't say that they don't have playoff experience because everybody on that roster has playoff experience, and they have it together.
Those are facts. It's a big deal, DJ, when Jay is in studio, sitting in your chair. I mean, he didn't come in regular season, but playoff.
Hey, get up the game.
I'm showing up. I'm coming in studio. This whole thing about luck, this goes back, Jay, many years when Urban Meyer was coaching, and we had him on, and they got over at Colorado State? They got a bounce, and DJ said it bounced. It was a lucky bounce, and I thought Urban was going to tackle him.
We went back and forth.
He wasn't.
By the way, I gave Urban an L. That was his only L. I won that argument.
And he was talking about. Who was it? Is it Anthony Parker, if I remember?
Yeah.
The DB was in the right place because he'd been trained and he'd been coached up to be in that spot, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'd like to say that they took advantage of a fortunate break because luck just seems like, well, you have nothing to do with it. It's just luck and you won the lottery, right? No, there's no scientific method to going across the border in this state, everybody else except for Hawaii in the same state, and you put down your whatever it is called, buy a lottery ticket. There's no luck involved. I mean, there's no strategy involved. It's all luck.
Right.
And so I can't believe that that's what we have. You have to be in the spot to take advantage of good fortune, and that's the way I like to see it with the Mammoth. And I know the goals you're speaking of because we all saw them, but they were there. Sure, they took advantage of it, but you've got to apply pressure to be in that spot in the first place. So is it really just luck? You see where I'm going there?
Well, we say throw pucks on net because good things happen when you throw the puck on the net.
Right.
So it's not luck. That's how they train it. It's what's the saying? Hard work and preparation. Then
that's when you get lucky.
That's when you get lucky. It doesn't come if you're not prepared. And the Mammoth are prepared. They've been doing all the little things, and a couple of the goals they scored. If the guy that scored it, like on the game winner the other night, that Cooley scored, if he hadn't have scored it, Yamamoto was right behind him. So they're prepared. They're prepared in layers. That's how they're attacking. They have the way they're supporting the puck is in layers, and the way they're defending is also in layers. So it's a lot of work to be that lucky, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
And this is something Andre Tony has talked about, isn't it? I mean, haven't we heard it over and over? Was it the third or fourth line he was just praising, saying to play the right way?
Yeah,
throw the puck in, go get it, hit him, put the puck in front of the goal. Yeah, it's not complicated.
No, it's not. And you're right. And both the third and fourth line have been phenomenal for Utah this year. And when they keep kind of changing it, they're hoping to get McBain back in. And game one, McBain was on line 4. But the fourth line's been out there doing checking and doing the chips and chase and trying to make it hard to play against Utah, trying to take the body a little more. You're seeing Carcone hit everybody. Lawson Krause had an amazing game. Not that he's a fourth liner, but you're starting to see the physicality not just be from the fourth line guys either. You're starting to see everybody buy into it and start finishing their checks. So yeah, it's everybody's doing what Bear is asking for the first time all season.
How important was just simply the learning experience of Game 1 to go through that to be able to carry them to this point going into Game 4?
Yeah, I thought that was super important for those guys. And we talked about how much pressure that they were going to feel and how much adrenaline, and especially in Vegas where the shows are over the top and there's all kinds of crazy stuff. And then we kind of, Ryan and Ashley Smith kind of replicated that same atmosphere here in the Delta Center. But it was important for them to get in and see what it was like. They weathered the storm. They actually took the lead in the first game. They looked like they belonged, and I think that meant to them that gave them the comfort to know that, hey, we dealt with all the high emotions and all the craziness before Game 1. We proved to everybody that we belong. Their game was pretty good, except for there was a 3-minute segment that cost them the whole game. But yeah, I think it was hugely important for them to get that confidence, get that all out of their system, and to move on to the next game.
There's a cliche in the NBA playoffs. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row unless there's some big talent differential. Oklahoma City's going to sweep their series. That's not surprising. But does that translate to the NHL? Do you find that teams that lose a couple bring more energy and really fight back? Or does Vegas have to actually change something they're doing and adapt if they're going to make that happen?
Yeah, you do see it every once in a while that a team will come back. But also in the first round of the playoffs, usually if you get a couple wins on a team, it's not that hard to get another win. I mean, it's still hard. And as far as Vegas goes, Vegas is going to be they're going to be looking at game tape saying, how did we lose that game when we only gave up 12 shots? Yeah. They blocked, I think they had 28 blocked shots that never even counted as a shot on goal. So they were doing all the small things to win. They ran into a hot goaltender. Veggie did exactly what we needed Veggie to do as a Utah fan. We wanted to be chanting Veggie. And within like 2 minutes of that first game, the game at the Delta Center, he had 2 really big saves that I think if he had not made those big saves, we would have been singing a completely different game. So I don't think Vegas is going to make that many adaptations. I think they've got a pretty good system. They know what they're doing. They just historically stop scoring goals in playoffs for some reason. I don't know what happens to them. But with Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner out there, they're going to start putting some pucks in the net. So Veggie needs to still be good. I don't think Vegas has to make that many changes. And I think I said this when I went in. I felt like Utah was going to have a little bit of an offensive explosion. Everything's starting to click a little bit better. And that's kind of what I'm expecting again tonight. I'm expecting Utah to put up 4 or 5 again, even though Carter Hart's a phenomenal goaltender.
Well, they put up 4 or 5, then you got it 3-1.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, with that in mind, we've spoken to a lot of folks, some media folks down in Vegas, and it seems like universally everybody's saying 6 or 7, but 3-1 doesn't necessarily lead itself to 6 or 7.
Right, and that's, I think everybody anticipated Vegas winning this. I think everybody thought that Vegas would be up 2-1 at this point. I think they thought Utah might win their first home game. I don't think anybody gave Utah the credit of stealing one in Vegas and then coming home and winning the next one. So, I know the experts are all saying it'll be 6 or 7, and that's what the Vegas odds were saying. But, Utah's writing their own story here.
From the Vegas perspective, is part of their magic their ability of their top line to stifle another team's top line? And does that make Utah's depth all the more important? Because if you've got a top line that is really good defensively, you can shut down one group, but you can't shut down 3 or 4.
Yeah, what's been really crazy with Vegas is they're using line 4 on Utah's line 1. Typically, you put your second line center against the top scorer on the other team. And to see Vegas do that, and it worked so well in Game 1, they really kept Keller tied up, And I think they were doing that again in Game 2. But it's always weird to see a fourth line set up on a first line, and that's when they were home. So they had last change. They were doing that intentionally, and it was working for them. And yeah, Utah had 6 20-goal scorers this year. They have 4 guys on the team this year that in playoffs already have 2 goals apiece. So they're spread out. They have depth. It's not, you can't just shut down line 1 and think you're going to win the game against Utah, because line 2 is the leading scorers right now. And then you've got line 3 and line 4 also producing, and you're getting production from defensemen. Uyghur's already got 2 points. So Utah's proving that their depth and the way they're built and the way they play is harder to shut down than what Vegas was anticipating.
Prediction time that goes beyond the series. What level of stardom is Cooley going to achieve when he is sitting there at 26, 27, 28?
Yeah, I think the league is realizing he should have been the first overall pick. He's going to be that guy, and I don't know if Utah's going to hurt being in the Utah market is going to hurt him being a superstar, but he's already showing that he's going to be a superstar in this league. And, Utah's lucky to have – Utah's going to have 2 really big superstars in Gunther and Cooley. And then don't forget the other draft picks they got coming up.
Right.
With the Ginla and Beaudoin. These kids are all good. I'm sure you've seen it with the Jazz. They line up so many lottery picks, right? Utah's got, I think, 11 top 15 picks on their roster right now, and they got more coming. So you're going to see a lot of superstars. This team's going to get really good. I think they're going to be really good for a long time, as long as they're willing to pay to keep all those guys on the team. And you'll see Gunther and Cooley and hopefully Ginla and Denoye become huge stars in the NHL.
Do you have to be in a big market to be a star in the NHL? Because I think even casual sports fans who barely follow the NHL can name multiple stars from Edmonton and Pittsburgh, and that's not exactly LA and New York.
Yeah, but those are huge hockey markets. But yeah, you're right. Columbus had Rick Nash. That was a market that everybody thought was going to be too small, but a lot of people knew who Rick Nash was right up until the New York Rangers stole him away. Maybe you guys don't know who he was, but he was a superstar in the NHL playing for Columbus. And yeah, there's a lot of smaller market teams that have stars. I think Nashville's always been kind of called a small market, and they've had some big stars. Even their goaltender's a big star. Just win. If you win, everybody knows you, everybody likes you, you make more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And they'll find you. We're seeing it. People want to relate it to the NBA. There's been guys in smaller markets. Sure. I mean, it's probably best for the league that Cooley played for the Rangers. But he can get a big bang for the buck if you win at the highest level. I don't care where you are. I don't care what sport you are. You can do it. And he can crack the hockey market in terms of publicity as long as he wants to. I mean, you got to put yourself out there too and be sort of a media darling type person. What do you think?
Absolutely.
How is he in that? You've dealt with him in terms of, is he willing to engage?
Yeah, 100%. These kids are great with the media. They're great with all of us. They're great when they go out and meet people. When they're out in the public, they're super approachable, and they don't mind signing autographs. They don't mind doing stuff on their days off to go up to Huntsman or primaries. They're grateful to be here. They're grateful for the opportunity to play in the NHL. Even though they're superstars, they still don't take it for granted. It's not like other sports where you get a lot of prima donnas.
Right.
Most NHL players are just super humble, and these guys are that. They're humble and they're grateful, and I think that's what's going to make them. Utah's going to love them even more the bigger they get.
I agree.
The winner of this Utah-Vegas series gets either Anaheim or Edmonton. Are you surprised Anaheim's up 3-1 on Edmonton?
Yeah, I'm absolutely surprised. I think everybody's surprised that they're up. But, that Anaheim and Utah are so similar where they are structurally and where they were in the rebuild. They made some big moves, got rid of some of their biggest players, and right before, they started drafting these other kids. And you're starting to see it pay off. They've got great goaltending. They also have a Czech goaltender, just like Utah does. And, they're proving that people thought they'd be good next year or the year later. They were terrible last year. I think they're the 3rd worst team in the league. And they're proving right now that they are dangerous. And, I mean, Edmonton, back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, and now it looks like they might not even get past the first round.
That's what I was going to ask you. You think that this thing is over?
I think Anaheim is taking the steam out of Edmonton. They've already chased Ingram. Like, he started the first couple games.
They did make the change.
Yeah, and then they went with Tristan Jarry. So it's not looking that great. Not Tristan Jarry, but anyway, it doesn't look that great for them. It's when you start messing with your goaltenders, And, Tristan Jarry was supposed to be the savior. He came in and he didn't work out. Then they had Ingram, and it's the house of cards is starting.
A little desperation.
Yeah, it's starting to fall apart.
We love goal scorers, and we love goals, and we talk offense, and we sat here and talked about it. But the fact Edmonton's given up 20 goals in 4 games, and I know the goal, a lot of it's on the goaltender, but the guys in front of him have to defend. How many shots is he facing? How high quality are they? But that 20 goals, I mean, you've got to be one of the best defensive teams, don't you? I mean, if you're not, it's going to show, and if you're a disaster, it's going to show right away.
Yeah, and a lot of the goals that I've seen them give up are not on the goaltender. You're talking odd man rushes or an open back door, stuff that should not be happening if you're one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. And it's making it look like they were, they're the 1-8 game and Edmonton's the 8 because they're giving up goals that you shouldn't be giving up if you're a disciplined hockey team. And you can't blame it on goaltending every year. They got rid of the goaltender that got him there in Skinner. They kind of hung the last 2 years on him. They bring in other goaltenders that have been doing well, and now they're not doing well. It's the same thing that's happened in Toronto. They keep bringing in goaltenders, but if you're not defensively sound, any goaltender is going to give up goals. And 20 goals is a ton, but it's not all on the goaltenders. It's the team not trusting each other, covering for each other when they shouldn't be. Like, you don't trust that guy over there, so you're going to go help him with his job, and in the meantime, your back door gets left open. So it's that house of cards that we talk about in hockey all the time. When one starts to falter, they all go.
Do you think that this, as a franchise, on schedule, ahead of schedule?
Utah?
Yeah.
I think they're right on schedule. This is exactly what they said they were going to do. They wanted to make playoffs this year. That was the goal this year. They did exactly what they said. They told us last year was going to be painful to watch, that sometimes they were going to look awesome and sometimes they were going to look terrible. I think maybe now they start to overperform, depending on if they get past this series. You're starting to see a lot more guys participate, and the depth is coming through more than I think anybody anticipated. I think everybody was thinking Keller would have to score if this team had a chance. He's been kept off the scoreboard, or, at least with goals. He's got some points, but he doesn't have any goals. So he's out there distributing, and the team's finding ways to win when not everything else is working. So when that happens, you start believing that if we can do it when not everything's working, what happens when everything works?
That's where some of the veterans are coming in.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And you're seeing those guys, that Schmidt that they picked up, and Ian Cole that's been here for a long time, they've elevated their game, especially defensively, and they are paying the price. You saw Cole break his nose and bleed and doesn't miss a shift. They get him a fresh jersey and get him back out there. So yeah, the guys are paying the price. They're doing exactly what they needed to do, and some of the guys are overperforming, and that's what we anticipate. I was mentioning earlier that somebody's going to step up that you didn't really focus on all year, and you're going to have that is going to be your playoff hero. Right now, it's Yamamoto. He's setting up a lot of goals. He's leading some great breakouts. Uyghur's doing the same thing, and then you got to look at Carcone and Kerfoot. They're not on the score sheet, but they're doing so many little things right that that's the reason Utah's winning these games.
Staying big picture, but comparing it to what's happening now, winning in the playoffs, they're up 2-1. Let's assume they win this series, and winning the next series isn't out of the realm. That would create a whole set of expectations, but it's a little misleading because this is the softest draw in the playoffs. There's 8 teams that earned 100 points this year. You're not playing any of them. As a matter of fact, Vegas is tied for the 12th best record with Washington, but Washington was the East. They didn't even get in the playoffs with 95 points. Anaheim's 92 points. Edmonton's 93. Utah's 92. This is the softest quarter of the playoff bracket. Are we really getting a real feel for where they stack up with the elite teams in the league?
Yeah, maybe not. Utah had more wins during the regular season, more regulation wins than Vegas. So it is a weird bracket to be in. But, Vegas has got players that were Stanley Cup champions on that team. And so you're playing a team that has that veteran ability to play in the playoffs. So you're playing a team that maybe wasn't that great in the regular season, but was built for the postseason. So I think you are seeing what Utah stacks up against a really good playoff team and wasn't maybe the best regular season team, but you're also going to run into that with some of the teams out of the East. They're big, they're violent, and that's what you're going to be seeing Utah play here coming up. If they get past this round, which obviously they're not there yet, but I think they're they're showing that they can take on those teams. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next round.
Sweet. I love to hear the next round. Just that phrase.
Yeah.
The longer it goes, the better it is. And we're in the storyline business. So
Perfect, yeah. And I want to keep going to games.
I don't blame you.
We're all relatively new to this, Jay. You've been hip deep in it much longer. What should we know that we don't that you do? Share with us.
You should have been hockey fans for a long time now. Hockey's always been great. Those are some of the things. Like, hockey's always been intense. It's always been fun to watch. These guys are just whistle-to-whistle nastiness, and the minute they get off the ice, they're some of the best people you can meet. They're great in the community. I mean, the whole NHL is amazing, and it just keeps getting better. That's the other thing you might not know. The playoffs are going to just keep getting better. You're going to buy into teams. Even if your team gets eliminated, you're going to find somebody else to cheer for.
The thing that I learned years ago that when I covered hockey, NHL down in the Los Angeles area, speaking of the Kings, obviously, is that they were easy to deal with, and the Canadian and American players were also great golfers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. It definitely translates. And every hockey player I know, except for me, is a good golfer.
Who's the best golfer on the team? You got any idea?
Yeah,
how many scratch golfers
Keller
are on the team?
Clayton Keller. Keller's got had his golf course in his backyard.
In Scottsdale he did. I saw that.
Yeah, he's basically he could go pro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Jay, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us, and people can check out the Puck Report wherever they get their podcasts.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, Jay Stevens, Talking Mammoth, Game 4 tonight.
Okay.
DJ and PK, everything you missed
All
in
right,
this show.
thanks for coming
Next,
in.
stay with us.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Reddit headlines. Brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today. Your local, trusted financial fiduciary. 1-855-TRAJAN-1. 1-855-TRAJAN-1. Or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. PK, the story of the day, the Utah Mammoth. Playoff hockey tonight. Could the anticipation be any higher? Yeah, I suppose it could be. The more they win, the deeper they get, the more people get worked up. But it feels like a pretty high level of anticipation.
Well, yeah, sure. I think it would be any playoff in this situation. I mean, this town is no different than any other town from that perspective. Playoffs matter, and when you got the lead, they matter even more because you have the opportunity to win, and it's fun. People are looking for entertainment, and so, if you can afford to go to the game, good on you, but, you don't have to afford to go to the game. You can just watch it and enjoy it or come down to the plaza and all that stuff, right, and be a part of that if you wanted. Take part of that and go home. So we're all looking for stuff to get to rally around, and sports has just become enormous from that perspective. If you just take sports, not in particular, but just sports, it's bigger than ever.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Ticket prices are higher than ever. Attendance is higher than ever. I see more people wearing merchandise around more than ever. TV ratings are higher than ever. Streaming numbers are high. Whatever number you use to measure it, whatever, and just the intensity of being around people, just all sorts of fired up. Football's a year-round sport, even though it isn't. It is. Doesn't make any sense, but somehow it does.
Yeah, and winning, and we talked about with Jay Stevens about can you be a big star in Salt Lake City? Yes.
Yes.
Because if you're going to capture a country, and that's Canada, and they're all a bunch of little places. Toronto obviously is different than Montreal, but they're all throughout, and they just want to see greatness, and then they want you to be able to give back. And I think because hockey is a little off the radar, that those players are used to being promoted. It's like Jerry Sloan used to talk about with the NBA when he was coming up. I mean, those days are long gone there, right? I mean, they're guarded. They're literally guarded by punch codes on security numbers to get into places. And, you couldn't when the Jazz were over across the basketball center. They were all on kind of the same roof. But my gosh, if you were over there on the Jazz side and ventured over, you're lucky a SWAT team didn't get you, You couldn't go through those doors to get close by.
Nope.
That would be unheard of. I don't think it's that way with hockey, at least in my experience. And that's fun. People want to have approachable stars, and they want to have fun with it. I saw somebody was doing an interview. I don't even know where it was, coming off the ice at practice, who has the worst beard on the team, because you got to grow a beard if you're a hockey player. That's a requirement. And, they were all saying, Cool's beard sucks. Maybe he's just too young. He needs some maturity there. He didn't turn 22 until next week, I think, or May 4th it is, whenever that's next week. I think that's next week, right? And so, I mean, that's just insanely young to be doing what he's doing. And to have an extent to know, you never know, but to figure he's going to be yours for the next X amount of years. And then I think, part of the deal is going to attract him is that you really have to worry about somebody wanting to leave just because.
Doesn't seem like it. We'll see when we get there, but some of these young guys are already signing contract extensions. So they're already
right.
And I suppose you can throw a fit and leverage your way out in a couple of years. So that's possible. But it just seems different. And we were just talking with Jay Stevens about this. Wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to that conversation. He was saying, well, Edmonton and Pittsburgh are hockey markets.
They are.
I'm like, well, yeah, but why? I was just thinking about this in a break. It's like, aren't they hockey markets because the stars who played there made them hockey markets?
Yeah, it's a cold weather place. It leads itself to that.
Pretty cold here today.
Yeah, but
it's not Edmonton cold. I get it.
Right.
It's not. I'm not.
It's not Pittsburgh cold.
I'm not comparing it to that.
It's not. But your point is well taken, and I don't expect any of these guys to be whining out. No, Donovan Mitchell was treated with kid gloves every step of the way. I mean, I wrote a piece that they took down because they were afraid it was going to offend Donovan Mitchell. F that.
They were worried about Donovan Mitchell leaving the whole time Donovan Mitchell was here.
Nobody ever asked him why. Why did you want to leave? Why did some no-name writer post something that they took down because they were afraid it was going to offend them? Think about that.
Because they weren't over Gordon Hayward yet.
Yeah. Well, but, okay.
I don't think they were. I don't think they were over Gordon Hayward at all.
But why did anybody ever ask Donovan Mitchell, what's so bad? Why do you want to leave? Did he ever answer that?
He wasn't really accessible in that era because you get into the whole COVID
he made himself accessible he spoke all the time. I disagree with that.
And there's no talking. PK, I would get on post-game press conferences while the game was still going on. I'd raise my hand, and they wouldn't call on me.
But they would call on other people.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Okay, those are 3 or 4 times.
And they got one question. It was not regular reporting times.
And I'm not complaining about or criticizing them for not asking the questions, but it's just that
Ben was never allowed to ask a question either. Ben went the longest time, and then finally they started calling on him, and there were conversations, and credit Ben for grinding and finally getting there.
What was so bad about it? What was so bad?
I thought a lot of it was social media. There was some atrocious behavior in the crowd, and Gail Miller went out and addressed that at midcourt. And I heard, third hand, but I heard that what she did went over pretty well in the locker room.
Okay, but that has nothing to do with the organization. I'm not talking about the dumb fans or the state senator or so. I'm talking about the organization. What was so bad about it?
I think he wanted to go to New York. I think the biggest single problem was he wanted to be in New York. He always wanted to be in New York. That's where he's from. The Knicks
then he screwed up. Then he should have played it out until he became an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, Well, he played it out in Cleveland, and by then New York had a good team and all the money was spoken for. So he never got that deal.
No, I don't think he didn't play it. Was he ever a free agent in Cleveland? He took the money.
Might have signed an extension with time left on his deal.
He took the freaking money. So don't tell me you want to go to New York.
But
he took the money.
It might have been a year left on his deal, but still, they're not. You can tell how many contracts they have, and there's backdoor conversations. He wasn't getting to New York, and that's why he took the money.
So then go to Brooklyn. And he act like that. If he wanted to be New York, they got this other team a few miles away that he could have been, and he didn't do that.
It's not the Knicks, so I can't speak to that, whether it was New York City or the Knicks that was the big draw. Because you're right, being in Brooklyn, you're in Gotham. You're in the Big Apple.
Or he could have been 2 hours away in Philly, and he could have gone up there on days off if that was the big panacea. I mean, he wanted to be. I don't. Come on. What was so bad about here? I would have loved, and I'm not criticizing him because he had every right to do what he did. I want to know what was so bad about it, and I don't think you're going to get that with the hockey guys. They're not going to mess with good or happy. There's something to be said for that.
There is something to be said for that. And it doesn't appear that they are messing with good and happy. It's early days, but they've already had press conferences announcing contract extensions and guys staying. So
it is not just early days. I'm here to tell you it is glory days.
NFL draft wrapped up over the weekend, PK. You were amused. The Raiders and Jets digging their hooks deep into the local football scene.
Yeah, we'll take 3 Cougars. 3 Cougars go to Vegas and 3 Cougars go to New York. How about that? Or in this case, Jersey. They asked somebody, what do you think about having a play in New York? He says, aren't we in Jersey? We don't even get it to New York. Yeah, all the practice sites in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's a New York metropolitan area.
It is. It is. And so we'll see. Well, and the Cougars or the Utes were a little more spread out. But it's kind of funny that 3 signed with I was going to say Oakland, but Vegas and with the Jets, and we'll see.
The Fano brothers are together in Cleveland. Bryson Barnes is in Cleveland as well. So there's a strong Utah connection to the Browns now. Although Cleveland drafted another quarterback. They still got Deshaun Watson. They've drafted 3 guys in 2 years. So Bryson Barnes has got a minicamp invite, but it's a little crowded there in Cleveland.
Well, there's a difference between minicamp and free agent.
There is.
The free agents will be invited to camp.
Mm-hmm.
The mini campers have to make it.
Yeah, they better shine in mini camp to make it to camp.
They're long shots.
They are long shots.
I guess everybody's a long shot, but they're even a longer shot.
Yep. Baseball in Mexico. Can they play there full time, or is the altitude too big a problem? The runs were scored. Pitching was taking a beating at altitude in Mexico. Diamondbacks win 12-7. Down 7-2 after 6, not a problem.
Well, if you're a Diamondback fan, you didn't think that, but ended
6
up being.
6 in the 7th, 4 in the 8th. Didn't have to bat in the 9th.
Yes, anytime you can avoid that Miller guy. You know, if Miller played in New York, my gosh, he would just be the biggest thing ever.
Yep.
But playing in San Diego, if they get to the postseason and he's just mowing guys down, which they've still there. They're 16. San Diego's 16-4 in their last 20, so obviously they're a really good team. And they'll probably make the postseason there, along with that other team, that team to the north.
Thank you, Urban.
Yeah.
Doing the standings. I was supposed to do the standings. You took my shtick, PK.
It's not about standings. I was just watching the game yesterday.
16-4 in the last 20.
They said they were 16-3 in their last 19. So
then you did math?
Well, yeah, I knew it would either be 17-3 or 16-4. I didn't look at the standings. They said it. During the game. I was watching the start of the game talking about how hot this team is and how good this team is. And good for them, man.
Yep.
They got fans, too. We talked about them. They're fans. Not you. You jumped off. If you celebrate, I'm going to come after you, and I'm going to hold you down, and I'm going to bring 2 friends to deny you the opportunity to celebrate.
Well, you better get friends because I'm going to celebrate.
If they should win the World Series. But there's been plenty of them, and, the tenants are right there. Their payroll's right there. Their tenants right there. Now they're talking about the Jose Feliciano, not the Feliz Navidad Jose Feliciano, another one.
Jose E. He uses the middle initial.
Yeah, and talking about how they're going to go make a bid for Scooball. I saw that story because they got all sorts of money now to be able to do all these things.
Isn't it crazy how people say things aren't possible, and then someone decides, yeah, it's possible, let's do it. Peter Seiler decided it was possible. It hadn't been possible for decades, and all of a sudden he decided it was possible.
Well, if you have the money and you put the product out there, it's proven. Yep. I don't care what fandom and what market, they'll show up. And San Diego has been right at the top. Their percentage to capacity is as good as anybody's in sport, not just baseball, but sport.
DJ and PK, we're coming back with your feedback next. A lot of people reacting. Hopping on board the Mammoth. Are they converting you? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK brought to you in part by Tim Dahle Mazda. Join Scotty and the coach Thursday from 11 to 2 at Tim Dahle Mazda in Sandy, 10785 South Automall Drive in Sandy. Tim Dahle Mazda. DJ and PK. PK, I don't think I've ever seen this before.
What?
The same question on two different social media platforms getting dramatically different replies. On Facebook, it's pretty much universal. Everybody says Nikola Jokic had the right to go after Jaden McDaniels for shooting the ball in the final seconds with Minnesota leading Denver by 14 points. It's basically, hey, it's unwritten rules. He was justified for sure. You got to send a message. I support his reaction 100%. This is nonstop. And then I go over to Twitter. Jokic is a thug. No question. DJ Main, you'd volunteer. No, it was a layup. If it was a flashy dunk, that was different. Kathy, the retired librarian. No. Derek, meh. These are all grown men acting like children. McDaniels is just pushing buttons like I used to do to perfection with my brother. Then we grew up. I'm not sure these guys ever will.
Yeah,
totally different reaction.
I hate button pushers. I never understood that, and that made no sense to me. But you got to expect some kind of reaction. It's universal. If you're up 10-3 in the ninth inning and you steal, it's just going to rub wrong. Now, should we look at it and say, what do you care, man? Hey, who cares? I get that. But to those guys in the middle of it, nobody ever wants to be shown up. And clearly the Denver team had conceded. Everyone had conceded to the point where Mike Conley apologizes for throwing the pass. And he just kind of threw it out there. It wasn't like he was trying to, we got a guy wide open. I'm going to chuck it down there. He just threw it, not really thinking. And McDaniels, you got to expect some type of reaction. Maybe not that level, but these unwritten rules, they're there in every sport. And whether we want to acknowledge, you can acknowledge, should we have an unwritten rule? That's okay. But you can't acknowledge that they're there, and if you violate it, there's going to be pushback.
Question of the morning of the Mammoth, converting you yet? Patrick, what's a mammoth? Oh, very clever, Patrick.
It's something big. Yeah, they've converted me. Bill Armstrong showed up at my door yesterday asking me if I wanted to know more about the Mammoth.
Yeah. Well, he's probably impressed with your front door, too.
Why is that?
Well, it's the entrance to your house, PK. You were just telling us this morning. It's the first thing you see. It's the last thing you see. I figured it was just, you went down to Peach Windows and Doors and helped yourself out.
If my wife wants to, we will do that.
That is the right answer. Jules says this. Remember, the Jazz have never won anything. The football Utes fell short a dozen times. The Gymnasts swung and missed for 40 straight years. We've been there too many times.
What?
Jewel can't get into sports. Nobody's won it all. I'm out.
Yeah, but I go back to the attempt to try to win it all every year. And putting the uniform back on, putting the practice gear back on. There's honor in that.
And let's face it, there's fun, there's joy, there's thrills.
We had RSL, I think, in 2009, did win it all, and then BYU in the glorious 84 did win it all.
See, there it is. 2 examples. And what were you going to do on those winter nights anyway? Don't you want to go hang out on those glorious summer nights at the ballpark? Go see soccer or baseball or whatever, and when it's freezing cold, you go indoors and you watch your basketball and your hockey. Then you hang out with friends.
So would it be better that the Utes lost in the first round or lost to Kentucky in the final?
Kentucky in the final.
I would think. Certainly it was better for me.
There were so many thrills along the way.
I got to cover the Final Four. That was as fun as anything that I've had. And I've been doing this for a moment or two, as Nick Faldo told me. Yeah, I've had a moment.
But even before the Final Four, didn't you sit there during the regional final in total amazement as Andre Miller just took Arizona apart?
Oh, every step of the way. I mean, most of the time, yeah. I was amazed.
It's the journey, PK.
I think there's honor in trying to compete for it and going out there and doing all that you can that requires. And it's literally, that's a 12-month job.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what LeBron is using, but to me, hopefully he's clean and all that stuff. But the fact that he has trained, now they say he spends over $1 million on his body a year. Now he has that money to do it. But the fact that he commits to what is necessary to put his body in position to do what he does, I have enormous respect for that.
And if you're not LeBron and you're not at the height of your profession for decades, and if you just have one moment, if I say this name, you're going to know exactly where you were and exactly what you were doing when it happened. Sunday out of Gaines.
I was actually sleeping.
See, I knew you'd know. It was hilarious when you came in the next morning. It was one of those late games for national TV.
Yes.
It didn't start till 8:30.
Yes.
And then it goes on forever. Who among us has not fallen asleep in front of the TV?
Oh, I had the TV on, but I literally was sleeping and woke up and it was over and I had to turn on NBA TV, I don't know, 20 minutes later. I knew I should. I kept getting more horizontal as the time progressed, and I was flat out horizontal when he hit that shot. So I saw it in time for coming to the next show, but in truth, I did not see it live.
All right, we're all done. Scotty G and the coach are next. We'll see you.
Well, that's it. Show's over.
What? We just started.
Yeah, well, the show's over.
That's the end.
That's not the end.
Why, yes, it is.
Right. That's the end.
And that's the end.
That's the end.